JBNN, we keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, Antigua DPP charged for fraud once passport returned. Antigua's Director of Public Prosecutions, Anthony Armstrong, who is facing fraud charges in relation to 3 land transactions, is to know on Thursday whether his passport will be returned to him. The Jamaican attorney at law was arrested on Saturday on his arrival at the Norman Manley International Airport and later charged with conspiracy and fraudulent conversion. His passport was confiscated and he was released on $500,000 bail. The charges reportedly stem from the sale of 3 properties 18 years ago in Jamaica, in which Armstrong represented the complainant, who was the vendor. The complainant in the matter had reported Armstrong to the General Legal Counsel, GLC, over the matter. The disciplinary committee of the GLC in February found that Armstrong was guilty of professional misconduct for sending a document for a client who was not present. On Monday morning, when the matter was mentioned in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court, attorney at law Hugh Waldman, who expressed shock at the arrest of his client, said there was no basis for Armstrong to be charged. He said that the GLC had found him not guilty of the charges and that the complainant is a self-confessed rogue and drug trafficker who is trying to muddy his client's reputation. Waldman also asked that his client's passport be returned. However, the investigating officer in the matter objected to the return of Armstrong's passport. She told the court that the police had asked Armstrong to come in for an interview from August, but he refused. But Waldman sought to dispel the investigator's claim. He said his client returned to facilitate the investigation and was of the view that he was going to attend a question and answer session, but was instead arrested and charged. Waldman also denied that his client had refused to come in for the interview. Parish Judge Venice Blackstock Murray asked for the matter to be set for Thursday when she will rule on the passport request. 35 people killed in 1 week. 35 people were killed in Jamaica last week, in one of the bloodiest 7-day periods since the start of the year. This brings the national murder tally to 1,329 as at November 5, 2022. For the week ending October 29, the murder figure was 1,294. The increase represents an 8% year-on-year, or 98 more than the 1,231 recorded for the corresponding period in 2021. Of the 19 police divisions, St. James 181, Westmoreland 126, St. Catherine North 124, St. Andrew South 121, and St. Catherine South 105 are the top 5 leading murderous divisions. Portland has the fewest murders with 10, a 38% reduction when compared to the period under review in 2021. Shootings, injured persons, and rape have declined year-on-year. Robberies and break-ins have increased by 20% and 9% respectively. Toddler among 2 shot in above rocks. The St. Catherine North Police have launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding a double shooting in which a toddler was among the victims in the Above Rocks community in the parish on Saturday. The incident occurred about 2 p.m. It is understood that the 2-year-old child and an adult were at home when gunmen fired several shots inside their home, located in Barnett District in Above Rocks. The child got shot in his foot, a representative from the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, said. A suspect has reportedly been detained and an illegal gun seized following a probe by the police. The toddler and a 25-year-old victim are reportedly being treated at hospital. The shot fly through. The baby lucky. Me glad it never worse, a resident said. 2 bike taxi operators in Hanover hospitalized after gun attack. 2 bike taxi operators are now nursing gunshot wounds in hospital after coming under an attack at an establishment in Orange Bay, Hanover, on Sunday morning. The men, ages 22 and 42, who are from the community of Logwood, are in serious but stable conditions. The shooting happened around 12:15 a.m. It is reported that the men were among persons at the establishment when they were pounced upon by 2 men armed with handguns who opened fire. Both men were hit and their attackers fled on foot into the area. The police were called to the scene and the injured men were taken to hospital. Anthony Clark wanted for West Kingston double murder. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF is seeking the public's assistance in locating a man that has been listed as wanted in relation to a double murder in West Kingston. The man has been identified as Anthony Clark. Sources say he was last spotted in a section of Tivoli Gardens, popularly known as Screen. Reports are about 8:15 p.m. last Saturday, October 29, two men were ambushed at the corner of Upper West Street and Hannah Street. They were reportedly shot multiple times. Dead are 20-year-old landscaper O'Shane Wright, otherwise known as Blocks, and 21-year-old laborer Jermaine Samuels, otherwise known as Jay. According to reports, Samuels succumbed to his injuries sometime after being shot. The police have since named Clark as the person who is formally wanted in relation to the double murder. Detectives assigned to the Major Investigations Division of the Constabulary are asking the public to contact them at 876-758-5048, the police emergency 119 number, or 811. Schools affected by a road protest in South Manchester. Classes were suspended at Cross Keys High School in southern Manchester today, as most students and teachers were unable to get transportation to the school Monday morning due to a protest. Taxi operators withdrew their services, and residents cut down trees and used stones to block sections of the main road between Newport and Cross Keys to highlight the poor state of several roads in that section of the parish. Valda Bennett, board chairman of Cross Keys High School, was at the scene of the protest and said that residents are appealing for even a temporary fix of the roads until something more substantial can be done. A taxi operator said the roads are leading to crashes and causing more frequent spending to replace damaged vehicle parts. He recalled our colleague almost died recently and his vehicle was written off after being hit by a van that was swinging from a pothole. He also lamented that the road was left in worse condition after work was done last year. We want to look at help, man, because the last time we did have to come together, come patch to look at road and thing. Then come last year with Mr. Chin. He come and dig up the road was with him jackhammer and then just left it. He complained. Attendants of 3 other schools were affected by the protest. Government to ramp up media campaign for gun amnesty. The Ministry of National Security is planning a media campaign to encourage persons to take advantage of its gun amnesty. The amnesty allows holders of illegal or unregistered guns and ammunition to surrender their weapons to the state without fear of prosecution. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says no guns have been handed over to the police since the amnesty began on Saturday. While the amnesty appears to not be getting the desired result, Dr. Chang insisted that the government did the right thing in offering the measure. He said the ministry will ramp up promotion of the amnesty this week in newspapers, on social media, as well as on radio, to reach those who are still in possession of illegal guns. Dr. Chang urged people to take advantage of the gun amnesty, noting that breaches of the new Firearms Act will attract harsher penalties once it comes into effect. He cited the minimum sentence of 15 years in prison for illegal possession of a firearm, adding that it is basically a life sentence because if you are 30, you will leave in jail when you are 45 years old. The world has changed. PMP purging their ghost of 2015, says Tufton. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton has blasted the opposition People's National Party PMP, which in recent times has intensified its call for him to resign after 12 babies died from a resistant bacteria at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital. I can only wonder whether or not this organization is not going through a sort of exorcism or purge of their own ghosts of 2015, said Tufton. He was addressing a Jamaica Labour Party JLP era Council 4 meeting at the Bethel Primary School in Hopewell, Hanover, Sunday evening. Tufton was referring to what is known as the dead baby scandal, in which 18 preterm babies in the public health system died. The then Health Minister, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, was removed from his post by the Prime Minister at the time, Portia Simpson-Miller, after public pressure and strident calls from the then opposition JLP. Now the JLP claims the two situations are different and the party has closed ranks behind Tufton. Following the recent revelation of the deaths at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, Tufton was flayed for failing to advise the nation until after the story became public. Last week, the PMP led a series of demonstrations across Jamaica as the party intensified its calls for the minister to resign or be fired by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. On Sunday evening, Estrada and Tufton directly addressed the PMP. I respect the opinions that you offer, and those opinions are important in our democracy, but don't use me to experience your own purging based on your own regrets of some of the decisions that you have taken, he said. The reality is that they have a bigger problem, and if I were they, I'm not, and I'm happy I'm not. I would seek to address the bigger problem that they have. And you know what that bigger problem is? The people of Jamaica prefer the leadership of the Andrew Holness administration and what we have provided over the last couple of years, Tufton said. He said he has gotten the sense that desperation is setting in within the PNP because only desperation could cause someone to gather people together to protest. The minister noted that while it is in their right to protest, the opposition runs a risk of scaring the Jamaican people from visiting our health institutions through false narrative or exaggerated narratives. He maintained that the country's healthcare system is better than it was when the PNP was in power. We have been through more trials, tribulations and challenges than they ever went through, and we have been able to manage it and to ensure that the Jamaican people are safe. That is why the Jamaican people prefer the Jamaica Labour Party and their leadership, and that is the problem that they have, stated Tufton. He pointed to the upgrading of hospitals and clinics across the country as proof of the work done by the Andrew Holness-led administration. Last year, Tufton noted, there were nearly 3 million visits to public health institutions, approximately 1.6 million of which were to health centres and 1.4 million visits to hospitals. More than 180,000 people were inpatients hospitalized for less than 5 days because of various ailments. Tufton said 98% were treated in the public health system by Jamaican doctors or nurses and went back home to their loved ones. The rest, for whatever reason, were dispatched to the morgue, and we regret that, but the system works on most of the people most of the time, he said. In sports news, Harbourview leads winners in JPL. 4 teams, led by defending champions Harbourview, won their second game in Sunday's run of matches in the Jamaica Premier League, JPL, as a double from Nicholas Hamilton led them to a 4-1 win over Dumbler Holden FC in a repeat of last season's final. Montego Bay United MBU, Arnett Gardens and Cavalier also won their second games, while Umberland picked up their first win of the season. Hamilton's double led Harbourview to back-to-back wins as they led 2-1 at half-time, as Dumbler Holden FC stumbled after getting their first win last week. Timir Lewis scored in the 11th minute to give Harbourview the lead, but Fabian McCarthy pulled one back for Dumbler Holden FC in the 29th minute. Hamilton restored Harbourview's lead in the 34th minute with his first of the match. O'Shane Staple made it 3-1 in the 50th minute before Hamilton completed his brace in the 86th minute. MBU are the leaders in the points table with 7 points from 3 games after they scored a narrow 1-0 win over Mullines United, with John and Weatherly scoring the winner in the 8th minute. Arnett Gardens ended Waterhouse back-to-back defeats with a 2-0 win, as promoted teams Falkland FC and Chapelton Maroons both lost their third straight games. Umberland won their first game by beating Falkland FC 2-0, as Washane Sharp scored in the 38th minute, while Jerome Christian added a second in time added. Cavalier FC beat Chapelton Maroons 3-0 in their game. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.